Today, I'd like to share with you the story that led me to where I am today, building an indie studio. A little while back, I was laid off from my office job. They packed up my stuff and put it in storage. When I went to go retrieve my stuff, I found a dusty old computer with sentient software that transported me to a utopian future where humans, nature, and technology lived in harmony. After having a little bit of an adventure there, I was brought back to the present to live the rest of my days in a time where the job market is so bad I thought, I might as well chase my dreams. Then I fell in love, and now I'm living a continent away from the place I was born, working every day to create my very first full game. My first major project under my indie studio called Kimbap Studio. The game I'm working on is narrative-focused, educational, and all about art. I'm also working with the musician to create the music, and my partner is programming the game. I wanted to make a game like this because I grew up with educational computer games, and I believe they were important to my development because they made learning fun. Now, I'm not really in the educational computer games for kids scene, but I feel like they're not being made like they used to. For my educational game, I chose visual arts as my subject because that's the subject I know best. I've had an interest in visual arts since I was very young and kept that interest my entire life. An ongoing problem I've had was being an effective verbal communicator. What I liked about drawing was that I was able to visually communicate my thoughts, and as I grew older, I learned how to write my thoughts. Even better was combining the two. As a kid, I would create comics with original stories and characters, all of which are lost to time. I kept up with drawing for years, but as I started to shift from making art for myself to trying to learn how to make art for consumption, I began to lose my passion for it. Time went on, and I eventually found myself in your standard gray and dull office job, headed in a direction I didn't want to go. But how could I complain? I was fortunate. I was paid well, I could afford an apartment, had health insurance. Even still, I couldn't forget the future I always thought I would have. Growing up, when people saw me draw, they would say, "You should be an artist." And I always thought to myself, well, what else would I be? I genuinely never fathomed I would go any other path. That was before I lived in reality for a little while. So it didn't take long for reality to come grumbling down the day I was laid off. When I was told that my job had become redundant, I felt like I should have been upset, but really, I was kind of happy. I really wanted to leave that job, but I never would have quit. And yeah, like I said before, after being laid off, I was teleported into the future, utopian society, yada yada. I'll talk more about that another time. After making my way back to the present, I met my partner, fell in love, and moved far away. I've been trying to find other work, but with no luck, so in the meantime, I decided to get back into art. It was a slow process. I made a bunch of abstract art that I later turned into an ebook that one person bought. Thank you, Allie. Then I challenged myself to draw every day for a year, and I did it. The point was never to make masterpieces, and I mainly used Pinterest references rather than trying to draw from imagination. This exercise was all about getting myself back into the groove of making art, and it worked. After that, I developed a collection hobby. While browsing Etsy, I found an artist called Morikari who sold original character designs, commonly referred to as character adopts or adoptables. I bought some, and that became a regular occurrence to the point where I gathered a whole cast of characters. This was the start of the creation of my first major project I mentioned before. I had this happy-go-lucky main character, a snarky little sister, and a sweet and gentle teacher. All that was missing was a parental figure. That's when I commissioned my good friend Solem Spirits. I wanted to involve my partner as well, so I asked Solem to loosely model the character design after him and match his voice. Solem is an amazing artist and character designer, and she came up with this design for a strong yet gentle giant father figure. With all of these character designs together, we had our main cast, Starcatcher, CD, Keep, and Peru. Peru is our teacher, and the story centers around educating kids about visual art concepts, so the title of the game is Peru's Art Class. And with that, the first major project of my studio is conceptualized and is now in development. That's all for now. I'll share more about the game in the next video, so stay tuned. TTYL.